400 years ago, some European settlers likely stepped foot onto the New World, looked up and thought to themselves, wow, that's the biggest cedar we've ever seen. And the Eastern Red Cedar was named. The only problem, it wasn't a cedar at all. I know you guys can't smell this wood through the screen, but if you guys are old enough to remember sharpening your pencils in grade school and one of these, then you know what Eastern Red Cedar smells like. This wood used to be the go-to pencil making wood because it's easy to sharpen with, because it doesn't splinter or anything like that. It's nice and soft. It smells nice. What a crazy wood. Man, look at that pink. It's just the gaudiest wood I've ever seen. All right, let's keep working. One thing about this tree is it's got a very stringy bark, and they oftentimes can have really deep flutes. If you drag them through the mud, these can fill up with mud. When you cut that with the sawmill blade, of course, it's going to dull your blade, so it's something to think about. There's another reason you might recognize the smell of this wild-looking wood. It was used to line hope chests, also known as cedar chests, to keep the insects and moths from gnawing on woolen stored in them. Cedar naturally repels insects. Obviously not these ants here. So you might be wondering, if this cedar tree isn't actually a cedar, what is it? The Eastern Red Cedar, loved and hated by many, is actually a juniper tree. It turns out the only true cedars grow naturally in the Himalayan mountains and the Mediterranean. Although both the true cedars and junipers are both part of the cypress family, which would explain some of the similar characteristics. And don't confuse the Eastern Red Cedar with the Western Red Cedar. I mean, imagine the settlers when they came across them, like, holy cow, even bigger cedars. Man, look at the crazy color on this thing. It's bright pink. But the nice thing is it doesn't take long and this turns a really nice rich brown. And if you put it on the side of your house, it can even turn gray. Cedar is a really nice rustic looking wood. You'll often find these trees growing in fence rows as birds will eat the berries, travel to a fence, and poop them out, making a new cedar family. These trees have a lot of fans, but a lot of people look down on them as well, as they tend to be an aggressive species of tree in certain conditions. They can grow in really tough soil conditions and proliferate very quickly, completely taking over an area. They can grow right on top of each other. As for milling and woodworking, it's a really easy tree to work with. It's lightweight, cuts easily, doesn't splinter out, and it's nice and soft. I mean, honestly, cutting cedar is like a dream. The longer I work with trees and the more I study about each species, the larger my appreciation grows. Each tree has its own unique set of qualities. In fact, the oldest Eastern Red Cedar ever recorded was 940 years old, and I would venture to bet there was much older ones before pre-recorded history. Being surrounded by trees of all kinds, I can't help but smile as I smell each different type of wood with its own characteristics, just like this one here. And I mean, look at this wood, the most gaudy thing I've ever seen, and aromatic, you betcha. And with that, I'll see you in the next video. Woo! The Eastern Red Cedar, the cedar tree that's not actually a cedar at all.